This is Josiah Plays Tyranny. Alright, so I have to decide who to address a proclamation against. Have to decide this right now. Bladegrave in the disfavored. Stone Sea in the chorus. I think that my character dislikes the disfavored more. Dislikes the disfavored the most out of all the factions. So I think my character would choose number one. So, number one it is. Address a proclamation against the Bladegrave and the disfavored Fortress of Iron Hearth. That's fucked up for the Bladegrave, though. I just went to the Bladegrave and ended the Edict of Storms that was there, and now I'm casting a new Edict of Storms on the Bladegrave. It's fucked up. Kind of wish I didn't have to do this right now. I kind of got roped into this a little bit, but nonetheless, here we go. You write your words with deliberate, graceful penmanship. Proclaim an Edict of Storms. With the edict complete, Callio approaches the edge of the spire and, with as much projection as her voice can muster, reads aloud your edict. And nothing happens. Callio slumps her shoulders with a disappointed whimper. Well, it works when Kairos writes it down. Perhaps there's some trick to it that I haven't learned yet. But your power most certainly worked when you used your own voice. So we at least know that your voice is an essential part of invoking your powers. Or at least, so far, I would imagine Kairos spoke a great number of edicts before learning how to write them down for others to proclaim. Have to become a high enough level Archon that you learn how to create scrolls. I know, she was really excited. Truth, I am a bit relieved. While I relish the thought of being your harbinger of non-negotiable death, I'm not sure being the conduit for such arcane forces is something I should be taking so lightly. Then again, perhaps your past proclamations are part of what set the seed of this power in you. She taps her chin in thought. Anyway, it's an honor to be part of the experiment. She rolls the parchment proclamation into her satchel. Oh, Tunon doesn't like me. I'm exactly 93% to tier 5 on favor and wrath with Tunon. That's very balanced. Very balanced. But that's what I was thinking, Nox. She should have to travel to the place to do the edict, just like all the other edicts. You had to travel to the place to proclaim them. So just proclaiming it from the top of this spire shouldn't, way over here in Apex, shouldn't do shit. I say we try this again some other day. Learn more about what you can do with your power, and someday I'll be your Herald of Doom. It'll be a date. With a nod, Callio begins to make her way to the exit. When you rule Tyrannus, look me up. If you're successful, I know I'll be in need of a new Archon to serve. Serafino and Callio romance confirmed. Yep. I know I'm mostly sober, but just so we're clear, you did just issue an edict, right? Lantry taps his quill to his tongue, unsure of what next to write. First you cast an edict, then this full-on war of Archons. This whole chapter of the Chronicle it's reading like fiction. So Kairos has ordered all the Archons to fight it out until only the strongest remain? I think we can now safely say that the Scarlet Chorus philosophy has been vindicated. A rumbling mutter stirs from under Barrick's helmet, devoid of any cogent words. Ha ha! Fucking Barrick's pissed. That's pretty funny.
Alpha birthed own words of power, like humans Prima called Kairos. Is better mystic than Broodmother to kills and shadow, than Stonestalker's 100 blood, than Beastwoman Archon slaughtered by Mark of Shadows.
She snorts and grins savagely.
Kills and Shadow knew Alpha was most powerful human in whole of Tears lands.
A curved claw taps the side of her snout.
Nose was not wrong.
One last thing. Hesitating before she leaves, Callio taps the parchment she's been holding to her forehead with a self-deprecating scoff. All this talk of you being the second coming of the Overlord, and I almost forgot my duties. This is a court summons from Bled and Mark, Tunon's assassin. I suggest you read it carefully as a part of your preparations. Your survival may depend on it. Good luck, Archon. See ya, Callio. Callio. Bind of Seraphina. You mean Archon Seraphina. Ari approaches you breathless. Our scouts spotted disfavored forces marching on Lethian's crossing. The decree from Kairos must have put a fire under Graven Ash. I'd bet my spear he wants the town's iron under his control. We need to gather our forces and strike back. Call a meeting of the Coalition. You're right. I'll gather everyone to discuss our next steps. We can count on them accomplishing that much. She frowns. Though Kairos knows if they'll cooperate with each other. We'll be waiting for you at Ascension Hall. You have to walk that slowly? Alright, really? Quest completed, a trial of Archons. Quest completed, standing tall. Tunon has summoned you to court. The time will soon come to present your case against one of the Archons. Alchemist gloves are completed. Research dagger plans are completed. Claimed every spire in the tiers. New quest, final judgment. Received a message from missive from Bled and Mark. You defeated the invaders attacking your citadel by issuing the Edict of Storms upon them. Defense of Haven, final judgment. In the wake of your edict and Kairos' decree to the Archons, the disfavored have become desperate and invaded Lethian's crossing. You have decided to convene a meeting of your coalition to figure out a battle plan. Travel to Ascension Hall. A meeting is set to begin at Ascension Hall in Vendrian's Well. Travel there and speak to Ari to determine what the best course of action is for your alliance. Tunon has summoned you to his court to stand trial for your actions in the tiers. Travel to Tunon's court in the Bastard City. It'd be great if just one line was added to the end of this biography. Lol, and then I became an Archon. Okay, Crimson Great Spear. Sage's Gloves. Ain't nobody trying to wear these, I don't think. No. Nobody's trying to wear these. $150? Why is it only $150? Oh, I'm missing my rest bonus. They want to talk to me. Wouldn't it be a conflict of interest for Tunon to hear a case against an Archon now that there can be only one? I don't know. Yeah, Kills in Shadows, Beast Woman, she's pretty badass. Mountain Spire. So if I want to, I can literally just use the device on your Vendrian's Well Spire. Okay. New items are available at some of these places. Missive from Bled and Mark. Hold on, let's just take a look at something real quick. I will only ask once. Bled and Mark. Actually, Bled and Mark likes me quite a bit. Favor 3. Wrath 0. I don't know if Tunon's actually part of the contest or not. I think he is, though. I think he is. Alright, what did this edgelord write to me?
Kid, I take it you're aware of the Overlord's latest decree. If not, let me give it to you straight. Now's a bad time to be an Archon in the tiers. Since most likely I'll be the one to cut you down, I thought I'd first explain. It's not my choice. But if it was, I would still choose to kill you. See you soon. Bled and Mark, Archon of Shadows and Courtblade. What a fucking edgelordy thing to write, too. Like, I mean, this guy is the edgelord to end all edgelords. It's not my choice. I'm gonna kill you. It's not my choice. But if I had a choice, I'd still kill you. What a dick. I mean, that's, like, laughable. That's, like, laughably evil. Alright, Ranger meeting. Let's read what I can write back. I can write back, this is one option. Bled and Mark, if I am to die by your hand, I would prefer it be in battle, face to face. Or would that be face to shadow? Regardless, at the risk of depriving you the thrill of a good ambush, I would ask that we meet in person, as peers, drawing blades openly, if that is what it is to come to. On the reverse of this parchment, I've mapped for you a location in the wilderness. Let us meet and settle things there. I'll provide you 2 days to scout the location in advance should you require. Hope to see you there, Seraphina. Or, my dearest Mark, I must sincerely thank you for the forward warning. Please know that I have indeed taken your words to heart, and as such return the following in reply. Certainly, I would not expect you to follow me without first testing my mettle. If we must slay each other, so be it. I respect your prowess and will stand my ground if a duel is what you desire, but I would ask that you consider instead pledging your blade to me, rather than aiming it for my throat. Does Kairos' decree insist that we kill each other, or merely that one should best the other? Warm regards, Seraphina. This one's amazing. He writes you, I'm gonna kill you. It wasn't my choice to kill you, but if I had a choice, I'd still kill you. Writing back, warm regards. I am so unconcerned is in this one. Or I can taunt the Archon of Shadows. This will be good. Mark. I'm sorry, who are you again? Oh, I love this already. Oh, right, that creepy guy who stares at people from the shadows. If you want to say hello, just come talk to me already. I should thank Kairos, as the Overlord has finally unburdened me of the need to treat you like anything more than what you are. A sad little sociopath that will soon be gasping for his last breath at the end of my weapon. Did your predilection for children turn even the cast metal stomach of the chorus? I've often wondered what crime Tunon must have on you to keep you on such short a leash. Of course, short leashes are ideal if the servant lives only to lick his master's feet. Sharpen your blades, freak. I'm coming for you. Because let's face it, you can't come before me before you're ordered to, can you? Wow, I love this one. Doesn't fit my character, though. Seraphina is the diplomat. She has to go with the warm regards one. But one of my playthroughs, I'm definitely going to send this one because it's hilarious. I love this missives thing. Look how many missives you got to send. Look at, like, you get to send all these missives. And like the ones with, what's her name, Myothis. Look how many you fucking send with her. It's ridiculous. Like, many, many, many messages you send back and forth with her. And I love how you get to decide which message you're going to send back. It's just like Alpha Protocol. In Alpha Protocol, you get emails, and you get to decide, you know, you get to pick between like 3 different emails to send back each time, and decide. You don't think... I don't think you read that entire reply? Which one?
Which one did I not read the entire reply? Down below is just the original message. Yeah, I know. I know they made Alpha Protocol. It's my second favorite game of all time, after Planescape Torment. Alright. We gotta do the cordial one here, because it fits the character that I'm playing. Send it. Missive is in transit. Oh, this game is good. Okay. So now... we need to travel to the Bastard City, travel to Ascension Hall. Okay, let's, what are we doing? Let's talk to Tyke and the Swindler. Yeah, unfortunately, poor Alpha Protocol just didn't sell enough. Alpha Protocol got fucked over by the fact that it was published by Sega, and Sega did a shitty job promoting and marketing it. And they forced them to hurry and finish it too early, and it was still buggy and stuff. Sega screwed them over on Alpha Protocol. And that's why we will never get an Alpha Protocol sequel. Plus, Sega owns the rights to it as well, so Obsidian can't make a sequel to it even if they want to. But this game, I think, has actually sold quite well, considering its budget and so forth. So I think this game is more... because Paradox apparently is a much better publisher to team up with Obsidian than Atari and Sega and some of their other publishers in the past were. He doesn't have any new rumors for me. Okay. Does he have new stuff? He's got an opal, a healing potion, an iron war mace. Alright, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Let's rest again. I don't think any of my people can train right now. No, we're all trained. Level 15. Actually, let's not bother with that. Let's go to my other spires real quick. Oh, let's talk to my people and see if any of them have anything new to say. Lantry? Yeah, this will almost certainly get an expansion, or DLC or whatever, yeah. And hopefully a sequel as well. Finishing the last pen strokes of a note running about his left arm, Lantry looks up at you with a nod.
Not to steal your glorious day in the sun, but I must say, now all my notes on you are suddenly worth 10 times their weight in iron. My journals will melt the linens off the ladies, I tell you.
Wow. Suddenly Lantry's getting all creepy. Listen, your journals melting the linens off the ladies. I don't think that's how that works, Lantry.
What's that you say? Buxom, nubile lasses with an interest in old men who know history. You need a definitive tractatus on the trials and tribulations of the Archon of the Tears. Well, you're in luck.
He's getting a little too excited about this little scenario he's kicking up in his head. Okay, Lantry. Keep telling yourself that. Listen, no buxom nubile lasses have ever used the word tractatus at any time.
I think one can safely conclude that you have the Overlord's attention, and that of the Tears. Soon, all of Taratus. You realize, I trust, I hope, that nobody other than Kairos has ever cast an edict until you.
I could use some if I'm a lawbreaker. Are you sure history hasn't just edited or forgotten those who could rival the Overlord?
Well, I have a hard time believing that someone would cast an edict and not have it noticed.
Yes, but maybe a rival casts an edict, Kairos kills the rival, takes credit for the events.
Well, As of now, I've seen with my own eyes that the Overlord is not unique in this regard. And I suppose you're all the evidence I need to throw suspicion on the record. Now, if you are right, that implies the Overlord has no qualms silencing and murdering those who pose a threat. In your case, at least my written record of you might survive. See? I'm being optimistic.
Happen to know when Kairos first cast an edict?
Good question. In parts north, it's commonly held that Kairos' Edict of Dust was the first, but it was cast in the year 11. It was just the first edict to ripple across the whole of Tyranny. If you lived somewhere that used to have antelope, you'd probably think that's the first edict of the Overlord. But here, the answer is given to us by the Overlord's own sense of posterity. Year 0 of Kairos' calendar is said to correspond to the day Kairos went from warlord to wearer of many crowns. A victory won when the first Edict of Storms shocked both the Cloud Barons and the realm of Medrev to capitulate.
Antelope? Is that an animal? No antelopes in this world confirmed. Captain Kick-Ass, that's why I don't wear a shirt.
Yes, or it was, at least, until they were all wiped out by the Edict of Dust. Or that's as best we've pieced it together from the records. From what we've gathered from their skeletons, they were some sort of mute beast man that ran on 4 legs.
Antelope are not like beast women.
She counters, flexing her claws once, twice, 3 times in annoyance.
Antelope have hooves for fleeing. Beast women have claws for killing. Antelope don't eat meat, are spooked easily, are large but helpless, lumber but lack reason, are prey. Silverback tribe hunted antelope extinct.
She sniffs and flicks the sage a pointed stare.
Old Ink Mystic tells many strange, stupid tales. Thinks to know everything.
I suppose I'm more of an expert in living things, like birds, and can't quite confirm or deny what you're saying, but just forget I said anything.
Also safe to assume Kairos will try to solve me in some fashion.
His decree forcing the Archons to fight each other seems like his opening thrust. Khalil mentioned the Archon of Ruin was dispatched with his army of Plagueborn. If that's true, the Overlord is certainly not amused.
I don't know that she's all that old, but she has expressed, or the different beast women that we've talked to have expressed that the beast people have been here for a very, very long time, since before the old walls were built, and that they have a very rich oral tradition passing down knowledge and lore from generation to generation, and have been passing this knowledge and lore down all the way since before they even looked like beastmen. They confirmed that they used to not be beastmen. They used to be like humans, without fur, without claws, a long time ago. And that they've evolved into this current form. And that they've still been passing down their traditions and culture ever since then, orally. They don't write anything down. So, beastmen actually, from what I gather, have more history and ancient lore of the world in their general knowledge than anyone else in the world does. They just don't have it written down. This is what happens when you wear fair suits for that long. Yeah, I don't know what the Archon of Ruin and Plagueborn thing is about either. That's why I kind of paused to read that again, because I don't... That's not... DLC plotline. Expansion plotline revealed. It's going to be about the Archon of Ruin and the Army of Plagueborn. Calling it.
At the same time, if you really were a meaningful threat, you'd have already been the victim of an edict, or bled in Mark's daggers. So this has me rather curious. Just what does the Overlord wish to do with you?
Know anything of the Archon of Ruin?
Only by reputation. Pox helped bring the Northern Empire to its knees a century past, but when that conquest was over, her army was disbanded. The disease-carrying army of the Plagueborn make poor peacekeepers. As you could likely guess, Pox holds mastery over illness, infection, and disease. If Kairos is sending her, it means the Overlord's mercy is exhausted, for such magic won't spare those trying to surrender.
Nice. Expansion plotline revealed. This is legitimately going to be what either the expansion, the DLC, or the sequel, whatever they make coming up to expand the story of this game. Here's what it's going to be about. The fucking Archon of Ruin. Calling it. We'll find out soon enough. We should get going.
Indeed. Once again, I find myself wishing the days and nights would slow down just a hair. Never enough hours to journal these dense days. Let us be on our way.
Interesting.
Greetings, Archon. How may I assist? Of course. How can I help?
Ooh, I have new options. New options here. I was hoping I would, and I do.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font. Well, you might want to ask. I am nothing if not a... I know everything, except for who's been saying that. What's on your mind?
Wait a minute. Are these new options? Are these new options, or are these ones that I just never did before? So they say sages know all sorts of things. Could you teach me something about history?
I'm flattered you think me that wise, but unless you are enthralled by migration observations and titillated by triangle ratios, I think I'd bore you silly.
Ooh, triangle ratios. Those melt my linens off. But what better tangent than triangles?
Fine, fine. If you have truly nothing better to do than talk trivia with old Lantry, so be it.
Lantry pops open a scroll case by his hip, producing a long handwritten manuscript.
A Brief History of the Tears by Sage Lantry. Volume 1, Settlers from the East. Dry land! Came the cry from the prow of the ship. After months in the deep ocean, the pioneers of the Tears saw their promised land at long last.
The minutes roll on, and Lantry cheerfully reads through his painstaking treatise. I will listen, because I like lore. Fascinating.
Volume 3, years 90 to 94. If you thought 88 was a crazy time when everything changed, wait until 91.
We're gonna party like it's the year 88. Storytime Lantry edition, yes. Haunting memories of Tunon's lectures creep into your mind. Let's listen to some more lore. Really, do go on.
Well, if you enjoyed that, you're going to love Ratios of the Sun. So, by using the shadow of a staff at noon as a starting point, I used triangles to show a relation.
He sounded so excited when he said Ratios of the Sun! Like it was really something cool. Unlike Tunon, Lantry cannot kill you for walking out of a lecture. And unlike Tunon, Lantry has to eventually sleep. You've experienced worse. Ah, but were your two measurements far enough to derive a parallax?
Ah, I knew someone would ask that. And yes, so here's my proof. Sage Winding Script shows a relationship between all half-square triangles. I have a diagram somewhere.
From time to time, the wind picks up. The howling, biting breeze offers a momentary respite from the deluge of blather. So if that's correct, you could estimate almost any length from a known angle.
Yes. Way to steal the concluding reveal from me. But yeah, that's about the gist of it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think my voice needs rest. Thank you for the rousing conversation.
I keep coming back to Lantry and finding new nodes of
Greetings,
conversation
How
that
may
I somehow
assist?
missed before or didn't
I
notice
am nothing
before.
if not a I am nothing, and I'd be happy to oblige. Edicts are the strongest manifestation. Now, would I find cure, and I'd be happy to oblige.
Is that so? Then let's talk about it, Lantry. What do you know? The knowledge isn't doing any good locked up in that impressive brain of yours. Tell me what you know, Lantry. What secrets do you know?
Siren rocks her head side to side like a snake in front of its prey, and as she speaks, her voice takes on a strange melodic quality. See, this is new also, because last time I had this conversation with him, Siren wasn't in the party. I'll say nothing. So Siren's trying to charm some knowledge out of him.
Well, where to start? There's the secret as to how to perfectly roast pheasant.
Lantry jabs a finger in the air in excitement as Siren rolls her eyes. I'll listen patiently.
Cooking, you see, is like magic. Instead of sigillant shapes, think of them as your basic food solids and more ethereal spices. And so I told him, no, you fool, you can't try to form two shapes into one spell, round and straight. Don't make a corkscrew. What a novice mistake.
What a fucking rookie move.
And so I argued it seemed more likely the scourges are trying to eat us, not mate with us. Wait, how'd I get on this topic?
Yeah, serves me right for asking.
That's what you get, Siren.
What do you want to know? I think you know all I can teach you, and I'd be happy to oblige. Familiar is a relative term. I think I know more than most, but...
Most of this we've already been through, but...
And I'd be happy to... And I'd be happy to oblige. Of course. How can I help? Are you asking for an objective assessment? Or as a chronicler of history? This supports my...
So, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying my words have no...
What? It's high praise.
We've heard that before.
Of course. How can I help? All kinds of things. My mind is old. Memories. I am nothing if not a... I know everything. Except for who's been saying that. What's on your mind?
Know anything about the Bane? A shame Sage Clovenklaus was reduced to a pile of ash. Man knew all that's been written on the subject. Most of what we know is summed up in the name. The full term for them is Magebane, and there's a good reason for it. They'll prey on anything that moves, but they'll show favoritism toward magically active humans. Tell me about wisps. Wisps are largely inconsequential by themselves, hardly the menace most associated with the Bane, but these glowing little creatures often follow in the wake of scourges or other larger Bane, and that can make them a real danger. What do you know of the scourges? Writhing masses of sharpened limbs, and quiet as a shadow. Scourges are the most frequently observed type of Bane. Not sure if they're the most numerous or just the most likely to attack. What can you tell me of the Havocs? Havocs are notable for being territorial. By all accounts, they'll stick to a chosen location and lurk. And lurk. You see one, common wisdom is to run. It will give up chase, eventually. When you find the edge of its home, well, we've killed a couple of Havocs. Know anything about the Malices? Those are the ones that kind of scare me. I mean, they're not the boss ones like the Havocs, but they're certainly a lot worse than the Scourges and Wisps. Most troublesome of the Magebane are the Malices. Though I've never experienced it, I'm told a Malice can take hold of your waking self, Leave you trapped in a dream while it puppets you. If evidence of these creatures didn't predate Kairos, I'd think the Overlord the only creature powerful and cruel enough to breed the malice. Do you know where these creatures come from? They seem to breed in the old walls, or at least that is where they exist in the highest concentration. But there seems to be no social interaction amongst the Bane, and no logical mechanism of, grinding their privates to make little Banes. Oh, we're talking about Bane sex. Now we've gotten there. Now it's a party. Let's speak of something else.
I know everything, except for who's been saying that. What's on your mind?
Know anything about the Beastmen?
My knowledge is largely academic, not to be mistaken for practical.
Know their origins?
The earliest settlers made note of the Beastmen, so they were here before us, but not before the older realms. By all accounts, the tribes do not have record of a time before the Old Walls. So, the logical conclusion is that they arrived after the Old Realms, but before Five Wives.
See, that's not what the Beastmen told me. They told me specifically that they've been around, that they've traced their lineages back from before the Old Walls. Yeah, that makes sense, Captain Kickass. Likely creations of those who made the Old Walls guards. Likely. Or they're the spirits of the people that made the Old Walls or something.
Ancestors of beast women roamed lands many seasons before Old Walls grew tall. Stories passed through mystic blood tell of time with no walls.
Ah, see, she just confirmed that. So quick to dismiss the Beastmen histories. Not very academic of you.
Well, how can we take these claims seriously when there's no written testimony or archival evidence? Anyone can claim to have built the Old Walls and yell, "Prove me wrong," with all their might. I don't have time to explain scholastic inquiry to you all.
What of the tribes?
There have been thousands of tribes throughout history. Most dissolve within a Acquireman's lifespan. The stronger females branch off and make their own tribes with tougher names. Then the King of Azure rounds you up and puts you to work. The Stonestalkers are the most powerful of remaining tribes, thriving now that Azure has fallen. As for the rest, the old Talons of Frozen Cloud, the Trollhooks, the Kolakar, the Katvanas, the Jawsnap, all gone, I think. And then there's the Shadowhunters. They're all but extinct.
That was Kills and Shadows tribe. She's the last one.
Stonestalkers are largest, but not strongest of tribes.
He snorts, amused.
Mantiborn of stalwart seas are much tougher and more ruthless than mewling stone whelps. Shadow hunters from darkness too were better, smarter killers. Are dead, but can be rebirthed anew. Once disfavored, have been hunted extinct. Kills and Shadow needs only rot good mates for best tribe to thrive again.
She wants to reform her tribe again by having her own babies. Sounds legit.
My mistake. Noted.
What do you know of their minds and mannerisms?
They are true to their names and live like beasts. Clothing and artifice seem to have little value to them, whereas rutting and killing are the reason they wake in the morning.
Are not so different from humans called soldiers. Do such humans also not wake to thoughts of killing and rutting with each newborn son?
Killing and rutting is pretty much what it's all about for humans, too. Or whatever surrogate for those activities humans find themselves engaging in. So much rutting, I know, right, Nox? Oh god, Lantrian kills and shadow rutting. That's a thing I bet you do not want to Google. Do not Google Lantrian kills and shadow porn. She grunts and bristles, rising higher on her haunches.
Human who is elder bitter smelling like coal ink, has many opinions of beast women, but does not want to know beast woman's opinion of humans.
She's got a point.
Oh, not saying all beastmen are stupid. I'm just saying I've encountered numerous beasts that seem wanting for smarts and initiative. Maybe it's how they're raised, or the brood that raises them.
Wow. Really, Lantry? You just said that to her? I'm not saying all beastmen are stupid. I mean, can you imagine... Oh my god. You should stop talking before she guts you.
Before she... Oh, yes, forget what I said. There's too much ink in the blood.
Where do their loyalties rest?
You'd want to ask the authority, Sage Quillborn. She lived with the Kolakar for a few span, back in 404. Some truly fascinating findings. She noted that every successful tribe has a singular female leader. It's Prima.
I already know that.
She noted that beastmen show fluid loyalty to new matrons. They adapt well to changing leaders, but they never change the relatively simple but strict hierarchical model. Few beastmen have accepted fealty to Kairos. It would seem the notion of bowing to a person you have not seen in the flesh is insanity. This inability to bow to the Overlord will no doubt doom the species, for Kairos does not suffer such token insults.
I love how much companion dialogue there is in this game. There's just so many levels and sub-categories and conversations to have with these companions. They really go into a lot of depth. Let's speak of something else.
I know everything, except
That's all for now. Let's discuss current matters.
Of course. How can I help?
Know anything about the region we're in?
The Spires predate us. Of course. How can I help?
Kairos has unleashed a feud amongst us Archons. Thoughts?
This feels like a logical continuation of Kairos' Edict of Execution. The Archons are still not playing nicely, and so Kairos would let his children fight it out for the title of Lord of the Tears. Count your blessings, because this bodes well for you. If you come up on top, your actions at Vendrian's Well are merely the definitive history of the Vector. The ends will justify all means.
Sounds good.
All you have to do is kill or subdue all the other Archons. But I mean, we've come this far. Of course. How can I help?
That's all for now. So we just got a bunch more dialogue from Lantry. What about you, Barry?
I can scarcely believe it. You proclaimed an edict. You wielded the power of the Overlord. For a moment, perhaps, but it was enough to turn the tide of battle in our favor. That simply doesn't happen. The Overlord's magic is as unknowable as anything on Tyranny, as mysterious and... well, I was about to say as unapproachable as the Spires, but you have cleanly dispelled that notion.
What do you suggest I do next?
Maybe too late to mend your ties with Kairos' hierarchy. If you continue to prove your worth, then perhaps you can be invited back into the fold. I suppose that Kairos needs some time for introspection, as do we all.
This can only mean trouble for us. Kairos doesn't tolerate competition.
No, indeed. I wouldn't want to stand in your place when the day of reckoning comes, but standing next to you might prove just as dangerous.
I have questions for you.
What can I do for you? Suffice it to say, my armor saved me from the destruction of Stalwart, where thousands of others lost their lives.
Ironclads.
The massive beast woman hacks and spits at the ground.
Come, tell Beast Woman all about lumbering prey that bleeds rivers but still defies death twice and 3 times from Beast Woman's killing claws.
Alright, so the same kind of stuff. It's amazing how much Kills in Shadow interjects in all this old dialogue that I've had with the other companions. All I need to do is defeat Edgy McHard as fuck, Pippi Long Reckoning, Sergeant Dadbod and the amazing green flame.
His oldest of ironclads is Fat Alpha with gray fur. Yep, laves pain away to protect Pack.
Barrick glares at Kills in Shadow.
Good. Let's...
We've seen that before. I was expecting the Overlord to kill these squabbling minions, but it seems they've been given a chance to sort out matters for themselves. You have the advantage that your spires aren't easily invaded. We should keep moving, and tackle the other Archons one by one. The voices of Nerat, Tunon, Blood and Mark, and then there's Graven Ash. Ash will not be quick to accept you as his superior. You must come to blows, so be it. Remember that I am your sword, but even I have my breaking point. Okay, I think that's it for Barrick.
Fatebinder wants Beast Woman?
Had any good hunts lately?
Good, yep. And many more than 5.
It says the same thing as always.
Chased human called Bronze Brother, who was swift runner, like riverine deer. Made Beast Woman's heart thump fast, and feet pound hard through mud and slick grass.
She scratches 3 spear-tipped nails through her thick, dark mane, and crinkles her nose in a fleeting moment of regret. Well, at least she's not scratching scarred, furry teats.
Should have made chase last longer. Like playing with prey, or with
I'm always down for a game.
is easy.
Rut makes... Oh!
We've already been through this.
What?
Wow. I appreciate being included in the...
How could Beast Woman choose any other? Would Rut ebb good and hot fast? Would mate Alpha, and would slaughter, carve back to pieces, slowly, savoring mercy.
Kills in Shadow and Ab rutting
Yep.
porn. Don't Google that. Don't Google that.
Fatebinder has many allies. Lead conversation. Beast Woman will follow. What now does Fate...
We just had a hairy
Fatebinder
teat
has
situation.
good musk. It's good to ask Beast Woman for advice. Even strong Alpha needs cunning of Bulwark at side.
How would you assess our progress?
Stealing territory of Beast Women lands. Lands humans call realms of Tearsmen. No Fatebinder claim territory of Vendrian's well. Is good for Pack. Good for Tearsmen. Should Kills in Shadow care outside of that?
Crouches down and scratches the lower curve of her back.
Fatebinder did good in stone lands. Grew tough as jutting rocks at jagged maw. Alpha protected caring for Stonestalker tribe. Would have been fun to kill Archon, but it's better for Beast Women if alive. Tribe will be stronger.
So this is new.
Alpha made good choice for Beast Women. Kills in Shadow will not forget.
How would you have us proceed?
Fatebinder and Kills in Shadow will help humans in Beast Women lands humans call Tearsmen. Will use to fight Kairos' tribe. Is what Fatebinder, who smells of Alpha, wants to do, yep. Kills in Shadow understands. Tearsmen are not good choice, but are better choice. Tearsmen are not predators. Are smaller risk to Beast Women try. Lead conversation.
Alright, what about you, Siren?
Fatebinder! It is always such a pleasure to speak with you.
I'll bet she doesn't say that to you if you make her kill the baby.
What do you need? What do you need?
I honestly don't know. You seem to be making quite a name for yourself, and it's impressive how everyone knows who you are. Kairos isn't going to like you taking over the tiers, though. Invading someone else's territory is the perfect way to get yourself attacked. Hey, this is different. Hold on. Tell me what you know about edicts. Anything I say would be a wild guess. That's why I'm with you. You seem to have a connection to the power of this land far beyond anything an Archon is capable of. It intrigues me. I want to know what it is, learn what it is, and harness it. Sadly, I don't have the magic needed to enact or break an edict. At least in my current state. Maybe if you got this helmet off my head? She gives you a knowing stare. I'd remove it if I could. Just because escape is futile doesn't mean the prisoner isn't going to give up trying. Doesn't hurt to ask. She holds up her hands.
What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
Okay. And we'll talk to Ebb.
Hail, mighty Archon.
This is new. Ebb salutes you with a nod, pounding her staff. Here we go! We're pounding staffs on the ground again. They just love... Everybody with a staff loves to pound that motherfucker on the ground. And she stands in attention.
Your newfound power runs in the face of what I thought I knew. All my life, I've been told Kairos alone can issue an edict. And yet, here you are, proclaiming mastery of the lands just like the Overlord.
Perhaps there are others besides me and the Overlord.
I should certainly hope not. Tyranny isn't large enough for Kairos, and it's certainly going to get very interesting if the two of you start waving your edicts to and fro.
I would have felt if someone else were proclaiming edicts. I knew when this one activated the Spire. From what I know of Kairos, the Fatebinder is definitely a wrinkle in some carefully laid plans.
If anyone has cast an edict other than Kairos in the last 431 years, I'm certain we would know. There would have been witnesses and evidence that outran Kairos' march west. The sages would have heard of it. Waving your edicts to and fro. I whip my edict back and forth. I whip my edict back and forth. Yeah. We're having an edict measuring contest.
Your newfound power runs in the face of what I thought I knew. All my life, I've been told Kairos alone can issue an edict. And yet, here you are, proclaiming mastery of the lands just like the Overlord.
I can replicate her powers, but I'm not just like the Overlord.
You mean his powers?
Siren's always fucking with us about Kairos' gender. Siren refers to Kairos as male and female various times when you're talking to her. Glare silently, glare... I mean his... Pipe down. I mean her.
You say that now. Let's see if you still feel this way when the reality sinks in, and your mastery of this newfound power solidifies. The world now bows to your mere utterance. Each day you will grow stronger, while the world becomes weaker in comparison.
Thanks, grieving mother.
Put another way, if I could do what you do, the world would be at the mercy of my depravity. Cursing the name of Ebb, Archon of Fecund Fluids.
Wow.
Your moral sextant isn't as crooked as my own.
Wow, Archon of Fecund Fluids! What kind of fluids are we talking about here? Damn! She just went there.
Your newfound power runs in the face of what I thought I knew. All my life, I've been told Kairos alone can issue an edict. And yet, here you are, proclaiming mastery of the lands just like the Overlord.
It's fortunate, then, that you were sworn to me.
If watching you slowly descend into power-hungry madness is the definition of good fortune, consider me blessed.
Ab got them fecund fluids.
Your newfound power runs in
She's
the
a
face
squirter.
of what I knew. All my life.
Enough
I've
about
been
me
told-
for the
What
moment.
is it
Shut
you
up.
need?
I don't want to hear you say that another damn time. We should discuss matters at
Kairos
hand.
has forced our hand. If we do not hunt down the other Archons, they'll come for us. And yes, I said other Archons. Your power now sets you apart from the common mortal. From the common threat.
Does my power scare you?
In a sense. But I'm more excited to view you as a counterbalance. The edict is no longer the sole property of Kairos. I feel I'm still overwhelmed by what all this means.
This is like when two nations have nuclear weapons instead of just one. Too far? Well, that's what was being implied, in my opinion, Saito. That's what was being implied. When she said that shit, be at the mercy of my depravity, Archon of fecund fluids, moral sextant. What fecund fluids do you think she's talking about, Saito? Oh, God. Of course she's a water mage. Alright. We should discuss matters at hand.
Kairos has forced our hand. If we do not hunt down the other Archons, they'll come for us. And yes, I said other
Suggestions?
Archons. I think this bodes well for you. You stood separate from either Archon during this civil war, so you're beholden to no one, save your own will.
We should discuss matters at hand
Kairos
again.
has forced our hand.
Well, if the
If we
Overlord
do
is
not hunt
demanding
down
us
the other
Archons
Archons,
fight, guess we
they'll
have to
come.
fight.
I find myself at a bit of a loss here. On the one hand, I'd love nothing more than to own a collection of severed Archon heads. But on the other tentacle, this means doing exactly what Kairos is asking.
Now she's talking about tentacles! Come on! A collection of severed Archon heads sounds pretty badass.
Now that said, I would be most concerned about your mentors. Tunon and Bled and Mark. Graven Ash and Nerat are simple. We can kill them separately. I doubt we can divide and conquer the Archons of the court.
That might be a tough fight if I have to fight Tunon and Bleden at the same time. Overlord of the Fur. We should discuss matters at hand. No, I lied. We shouldn't discuss any more matters at hand. I have some questions for you. Starting to think you're overly fascinated by me. Don't worry, the feeling's completely mutual. In that I also find me endlessly fascinating.
Ask away.
Talked about all that stuff.
You know, I normally charge for this, but for you... Now, you know that's a very
Oh yeah, I don't want to say that one.
Ask away.
I guess that's it.
Not entirely sure. Which is to say, there was a time I studied my enemy and... Ask away.
Alright, we still have to talk to Verse, and we will do that in our next episode. That's gonna do it for this one. So, if you're watching the stream, I am not done. I'm gonna keep on playing. But if you're watching on YouTube, that's the end of this episode. So thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays. This has been Josiah Plays Tyranny.